didn't know you could make sourdough anything other than bread. When I first started, someone asked me, oh, are your scones sourdough? And I was like, what? That's a thing? So ever since then, I make sourdough scones. Hi, I'm Jessie from Jessie Mo's Baking Co. And today we're going to make lemon blueberry scones. Let's get into it. I'm going to add all my dry first. So I'm going to add my flour, my sugar, my salt, baking powder. I'm going to give that a little mixy. Okay, set that off to the side. And then I'm going to cut my butter. It's a little easier to incorporate. I didn't know you could make sourdough anything other than bread when I first started. And then someone asked me, they're like, oh, are your scones sourdough? And I was like, what? That's a thing? So ever since then, I make sourdough scones because anything that has flour can be sourdough. You can use active, you can use discard, anything you want. And then you get all the health benefits, right? Sourdough's healthy. It's fermented, it's easily digestible. I just like cutting this into cubes. You could also grate this, which is really nice too. But I don't always want to wash a grater. So sometimes I just cut it. We'll grab our pastry cutter and we'll kind of mash, like my grandma said, mash them on in there. I love my grandma. So all we're looking for here is that the butter is pea-sized and that it's just nicely incorporated. We want chunks, but we don't want like huge, massive chunks. Kind of scrape it off, sift it, and see what they're like. It's about right. Okay, cool. So they're about pea-sized. They're ready to go. All right, cool. Put that off to the side. So now we will work with our wet. Okay, so we have our starter here. So a good trick to get it all combined really nicely is to add all your wet into your starter. So this one is an active starter. You can see it all jiggle. So we're just going to crack our egg into it. Put that off to the side. Heavy whipping cream and vanilla. Give that a whiskey business. So if you just added the starter directly into the dry without it being all incorporated, it wouldn't want to incorporate very well. So what I'm looking for is for it all to be combined, not to see the yolk or the white in there, for it all to be homogeneous and spill everywhere. It's always good. Wait, done with that. Oh, also our zest. Fresh zest, very fragrant. Give that a stir real quick. And we'll add the blueberries last because they're fresh and I don't want them to burst while I'm mixing. Okay, so we'll add our wet to our dry. And the trick with scones is you want to get it to where it's incorporated, but you don't want to overmix or knead it by any means. You just want all the flour to kind of get a little wet. Otherwise, it gets kind of dense and nobody wants a dense scone. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and put my blueberries in. And I'm going to make sure it's all combined with my hands. And you can kind of see how it sticks together and not really sticking to me. But it'll probably stick to me in a minute anyway, because that's how scones are. Pour that out. And you can see here how it's not at all like a homogeneous come together dough. It's like a biscuit. So you just kind of want to fold it into itself, pressing gently. It's not to burst your berries. You could also use frozen too if you want. You can see all those nice big butter chunks. Just gonna give it a pressy press. If the berries burst, that's fine. It gives it a nice color. Okay, so we're just pressing it out into about an 8-inch disc. If it doesn't all incorporate, that's fine. Put it off to the side. I always try to get like a perfect circle, but it's never going to be perfect. But yeah, that's it. That's a scone. So we're going to wrap this up and place it in the freezer overnight and then bake it tomorrow morning. So we're back and these scones have been sitting in the freezer overnight. So now we're going to cut and bake them. Unwrap. Flippity flip. Okay. So we're going to cut them into 8 wedges. Slice in half again, and then cut each little wedge. All right, cool. Now I get my little scraper, and it's nice and easy. Let's pull them out, put them on the tray. You can see all the color from the blueberries. So exciting. And the yellow butter. I love butter. We're going to go ahead and space them out kind of far apart. I find that when I space them kind of close together, they like to run together and all the butter kind of just makes a pool. So I don't like to do that. I like to give them their own nooks and crannies, their own space. So we preheated the oven to 400 degrees. So we're going to pop them in and bake for about 20 minutes. We are going to make our lemon glaze for our lemon blueberry scones. So we're going to add our powdered sugar to a bowl. Add a little bit of salt. Give it a little whiskey. We're going to use our zested lemon from the recipe. Slice it in half. Take the juice. Honestly, I feel like this glaze to me is like you're eating lemonade. That's what it reminds me of. It's so refreshing. Okay. That a whiskey. So we're just kind of looking for like a maple syrup consistency. So it's like pourable, but it's not going to run all over the place. Looking like we need a little more lemon juice. Yeah, so we'll just pour a little bit more in there. Okay, we're all mixed. And this is kind of what we're going for. It's not like too thick, it's not too thin. Coats the spatula. You can run your finger through it without it pulling back up. Yep, that's ready. So it's been about 20 minutes. Our scones are ready to come out of the oven. Oh, mama. Check out those bad boys. I love how the oven like perfectly browns everything. You can't get that in a home oven. Our scones are out of the oven. They're cooled slightly, so we're gonna top them with our glaze. Yum. It'll kind of like soak in a little bit, but also get like a little bit of crunchy bite to where it's still on your mouth a little bit, like a Krispy Kreme donut. And there we go. Blueberry lemon sourdough scones. That's good.